Hey everybody, welcome to beautiful Valencia. We have ridden around here so many times I've lost count. It's not very sunny, I've got to admit. Normally it's blazing sunshine, but not so much today. Today we are testing two of the most important motorcycles that Triumph has released for probably decades, I'm going to say. So you got over here, you got the Speed 400, and right next to me you have the Scrambler X, well the 400X Scrambler. Now, why are these two bikes so important? It's because they're trying desperately, Triumph, not just Triumph, everyone's trying desperately to get new riders, new bums on seats. You know, we are living in an aging population. We've got to get new blood in. We've got to keep this big old machine ticking over. And it's also very important for Triumph because they've never really had entry-level motorcycles. You know, there are certain bikes that were, depending on your licensing in whatever country you live in, you could get entry points into the brand, but really they kind of started mostly from 600cc on up to 1200s and so on and so forth. So to get new bikes, new bums on seats, ultra problem number one for the world's manufacturers. And this is what we've got today. So let's have a bit of a look at what both bikes share in common. Same engine, brand new 398cc single cylinder. Although if you look at it, it almost looks like a twin. It's got that very much that same classic engine shape that we've come to love, especially things like the Speed Twin, for example, that kind of looks very similar to that. 39 horsepower you're going to get out of that new motor, 28 pounds-feet of torque, so not going to pull your arms off, but definitely enough to sort of get up and go. That motor's got really good mid-range. You don't have to slap up and down the gears too much to go out and pass cars on the freeway and things like that. But around town, around Valencia here, where the speeds in the city at least are not real high, lovely engine. More than anything you'd ever need for inner city riding. So yeah, a very good thing from Triumph. Doesn't come with things like quick shifters or anything like that, or multiple engine modes and none of that stuff. Don't need it. You know, you have 40 horsepower, just a nice good throttle response. Perfect. So nice easy work there. Same base frame between the two of them as well, although that's where we start to notice the differences, shall we say. So got my notes here, guys and girls, because there's just too much for me to be able to remember. So first off, 20 pounds difference between the two of them, 395 pounds for the Scrambler versus 375 for the Speed 400. Biggest difference obviously is the 19-inch front wheel that you're going to get with your Scrambler. It's also got a slightly longer wheelbase, the Scrambler, and that's not because it's got a different swing arm. It's actually got they've got the same swing arm between the two of them. It's that the Scrambler has a couple of extra links in the chain and it sits further back, the wheel sits further back in the swing arm. Now when you ride the two, obviously they are pretty different. You know, you can tell that just by looking at them. Much higher ride position with these big old bars on the Scrambler versus the more sort of traditional roadster, almost cafe racer style of the Speed. It really depends on what kind of riding you're after. You know, I think they are quite different customers too that are going to go and choose one or either of these bikes. Also too, you know, you're dealing with fairly different seat heights as well. 31.1 inches on the seat height for the Speed versus 32.8 for the Scrambler. Now that's a pretty big difference, really. Like, you get on it and the Scrambler especially, it doesn't feel like a 400. It feels more like a 600, even maybe a little bit bigger. This, on the other hand, the Speed really does feel like a 400. It's probably the most unintimidating of the two. Lovely little chassis on it, very comfortable, even for my 6'1". Even though I did prefer this, if I were riding the Speed, I reckon I'd be quite happy with it. Didn't get uncomfortable at all, and we rode for, I think it was about 150 miles or so today. So a good old ride. It felt quite good at the end of it. Pretty happy. Now Metzeler are supplying the tires for both bikes, and sorry I am wearing a Metzeler hat. That's just pure coincidence right there. Hello to all the guys out there at Metzeler. You have Sportec M9RR tires for the Speed, and you've got Karoo Streets, which is kind of like your quasi off-road ADV 50/50 tire for the Scrambler. Obviously that's so that you can get out there and have a bit of a scratch off-road if you so choose. Also with the traction control on the Scrambler, you can have an off-road mode as well, so you can disengage all the ABS, so you can lock the thing up into corners and have a bit of fun with it. You can't take the ABS off on the street, which is that's just per rules these days. I was actually quite surprised that you could take the ABS off on this, because I actually thought they were mandated to have them on all the time. But anyway, that's good news if you want to go off-road. Speaking of comfort-wise on road, the suspension is basic at best, shall we say. Unadjustable fork, preload adjustment only on the rear. Having said that though, it is set up quite nicely, like especially the Speed is really comfortable at speed. Sorry for the pun there. The Speed is comfortable at speed, but no, it's a very nice, comfy motorcycle. As I say, you can get out there all day. It turns really fluidly. It's nice and light. Obviously, you've only got a single cylinder motor there, so you don't have a lot of reciprocating mass, and you can just kind of flick it around from piece to piece. I got to say, I'm not a big fan of the Bybree front brakes on this. Like they work, but they don't have much feel at all, and they also don't come with any form of span adjustment on the lever. So look, you're dealing with bikes that are pretty cheap by all things. No, and I don't mean cheap by just crappy components. They just don't cost a hell of a lot. So you got $55.95 for this one, for the Scrambler, and $49.95 for the Speed. That's not much. When you consider that's a brand new motorcycle that you can get. You could probably get the thing out the door on a Scrambler, at least. You could probably get the thing out the door ready to go for $6,000. Pretty incredible stuff for a new motorcycle these days. I mean, we've all seen how expensive bikes have gotten, and to have a brand new bike under $6,000, not bad. I think you can guess who Triumph's going after with this one. Starts with R, ends with E, Royal Enfield. I don't think it's only Royal Enfield that they're going after, but you can bet your bottom dollar they are the one that's at the top of this kind of market at the moment. The Japanese have dipped their toes in and out with retro-ish looking motorcycles, but really it's become a sort of Royal Enfield market. Like everyone's kind of looking at the various models that are coming out of India right now, and with these bikes especially being built in India, there is a huge push for that area of the motorcycle market. So I reckon you're going to see a lot of these things out there internationally, not just in the US. You'll be able to go through Asia in a couple of years, and I bet a lot of the people will be riding these things just because they are so inexpensive. I don't want to say the word cheap, that's not very nice, but for what they are very nice motorcycles. They're finished really well. They've got really lovely paint, especially this khaki paint, which is a bit of a Triumph trademark now. It's been around for quite a while. The headlight bezel and headlight cover and stuff like that. Like they're bloody good looking motorcycles. So yeah, for under $6,000 for both of them, probably out the door at your dealer. Not bad, honestly. Triumph's done very well with bringing really good value to the customer. And look, proof's in the pudding. Both bikes are really good fun to ride. Off-road, the Scrambler's great fun because it is so light and it's so nimble and so flickable. Yeah, you're a bit limited by your suspension, but hey, look, it's a $6,000 bike. You're not rolling on a KTM 890 Adventure here. So you got to put that in mind. But look, overall, really cool motorcycles from Triumph, and this is going to be, I can only see this area of the market just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And really, when you look at how user-friendly both of these things are, I'd have one of these things just to go down the shops. Easy. You don't need 1,200 horsepower to just go and do your daily runs. So big area of the market, it's only going to get bigger, and we've got 2 new players, so happy days.